It's ass ripping cold out here. Maybe I should do a week in review. Hey, well today, do a week in review. Don't have anything new. I didn't pick anything up this week. I'm really focusing on the culling process, going through my books and keeping the ones that I want to keep and plan to keep for a long time, and then just really going through and evaluating what I have and why do I have it and why do I collect it, and I'll go over that in a minute. But I find that it's been great because I've had a lot more time to get caught up on reading. I've read so much this week, and it kind of gets you back into why you got into the hobby in the first place. I know for me, I tend to obsess about things, and I was a completist, so I started to find that I was spending a lot of time, looking on eBay and evaluating different books and when should I get this. And I can remember my eBay watch list would be 200, books all the time, and I think right now it's 6 or 7. So I think I like that. I think I'd rather really get my collection down to books that I love, more than just a bunch of books that I kind of like. And I'm tending to do that with everything, and I think I've made comment on it on a few people's videos. But as I age and get older, I realize that I like fewer things. I'd rather have fewer things that I can interact with more often. You don't have to take care as much, but the other side of that is that when you do have fewer things, you tend to get really nice fewer things, and really nice things usually have a really nice price tag. So, but that's fine, because since I got back into the hobby in 2013, it's been a self-feeding hobby. I've been selling stuff off, and I use the money I make from that to buy new stuff. So I haven't gone out of pocket for anything since I came back. So it's great, and it only strengthens it when I look at these books that I picked up recently. I showed this one earlier in the week, X-Men 94. It's a beautiful copy, and this is a book I would say I love. So obviously that's one I would hang on to. And like this is a book I always thought of getting, and I think a lot of times what ends up happening is you're chasing all these other little books, and to fill a run, or to complete a story arc or whatever, or just to complete a series. Maybe you are collecting an entire series, that you lose track of books like that. And it isn't just the money, but it's the time in the day that you have to actually hunt these things. So I know I'm really looking forward to a con season this year, because I'm not going to have all that with me. I'm not going to have 3 or 4 pages of want list stuff I got to go through. There'll be 20 books I'm looking for. Like this is just, I remember when I got this, and I know I showed it in a video, but it's just so exciting to have this. I gladly would rather have this one book than a whole stack of Iron Man books. I've read them all. I have them all digitally. I have all kinds of trade paperbacks, and most of it, in another form, so I don't need all the floppies, I guess. This cover is another one. It's awesome. I loved having this. Seeing him, Spidey with 6 arms, was just something great, that I really look forward to getting, and I have it now, so it's awesome. And then just the other day I showed this one, and it was, since I got back into comics, I completed the Captain America run from Volume 1, Marvel 100, all the way through Volume 7, and now that I have it, I went back and I looked at those stories, 7, 6, 5 even. They don't really appeal to me, and the artwork's okay, but nothing really speaks to me and makes me want to keep it. So I can, as strange as it is, though, I've only owned those for a few years, and I'm going to get rid of them already. And even further than that, I've been going through the culling process. So I just randomly reached in my drawer and grabbed a stack of books, and just going through them quick. It's a great cover, Mike Blue cover, Werewolf by Night, but I don't think, I want to keep it forever. So I'd rather release this out back into the wild to somebody that will love it. Maybe someone needs number 6, and they're dying to get number 6. I can remember this cover. I like this cover a lot, but I don't know if I want to keep it. And it's strange. I mean, I've had it less than 2 months. Here's 4 Defenders books that I needed, and it completes what I planned on collecting, 1 through 41. And they're okay. I remember when these came out, I still have the originals that I have, and I don't know, there's no history to these books here in my hands. You know, I went and I bought them. It was kind of neat to buy them, you know, on that wintry day, but I don't know if I want to keep them anymore. I mean, I look at those, and if I sell them online, they're probably worth, I don't know, probably between $5 and $10 a piece. So that could go towards something else. Now these 2 books I will keep. I like them a lot. It's just an awesome Gil Kane cover Thor book, 20-cent era. This one I can remember always wanting to get this book, and I never had it, and I haven't read it yet, so I'm looking forward to reading this one. But I think I need one more in the series so that I can read them all together. But I really think the more I look at this, I'll probably keep anywhere between 400 and 600 books. I can't imagine I'm going to want much more than that. So it's strange to see this, and I think I mentioned it a few videos ago, but I just want to see if I wake up one morning and think, no, hang on to all those books. So I haven't done anything yet. I'm dividing them, and I'm putting them into short boxes to prepare them to get rid of. But I wouldn't have thought this if you had told me 6 months ago. That's how I'd be feeling. But it just kind of come over you, and that's I guess where I'm at. I have been reading a lot though, and I read the latest Walking Dead online, and it was pretty good. I was glad that it looks like it's taking a different turn. It wasn't so sluggish. It still has the feeling of there's a lot of drama and soap opera stuff going on that I don't care for. But I guess that's just part of it. You just kind of put up with that, and so you can see the rest of the story. So that's pretty good. I've looked at what was the latest one? Doomsday Clock, I think DC issue 2 came out, so I read that one. I'm not a huge DC comic reader, so some of it was lost on me, but I know the Watchmen storyline very well, and I'm trying to get into it, but I'm already kind of losing interest in the second book. I think sometimes you can only light a match once, and both Marvel and DC lately seem like they're trying to relight matches that have been burnt for 10, 20 years. So I don't know what the solution is. Maybe it is time to end some characters. I don't know. But I also started reading more books again because I have more time. I'm not hunting online or planning what I'm going to do or taking care of thousands of books anymore. Everything's been bagged and boarded and put into spreadsheets and all that kind of good stuff. So I am kind of looking forward to getting rid of that and have more free time. But I bought this book a while ago. It's called Comic-Con in the Business of Pop Culture. It's written by Rob Solkowski. Oh no, Solkowitz. Anyway, I butchered his name. There it is. So if you want to look it up, but it was published in 2012, and it's pretty cool because it goes through. Him and his wife go to San Diego Comic-Con every year, and he talks about how it's changed and how over 130,000 people come to that con, and how much money it generates, and how it's really kind of changed over the years from just like a comic show to it's just a media circus at this point. But it's very interesting. I'm about 3 chapters into it, so I can definitely recommend it. It's a book, especially if you go to cons. It's kind of fun to read about, and I go to the smaller cons, but still, it's definitely a good read. I finished Stranger Things 2. I loved it. I know it was heavy-handed with 80s references, and I've seen some people commented that kind of bother them, but it didn't bother me so much. I liked the way the story went along, and I think why it was so good is at one point I watched it with my son, and we had paused it, and I said, this show, I would watch the show even if there were no supernatural, no monsters, no upside down or any of that. The characters stand on their own. That little group of characters and interactions with the older kid Steve and the younger kid with the hair and telling him what to do with his hair, that to me was as good or better than anything that's on TV right now. So I think that then you add in the supernatural element to it, and the sci-fi edge to it, and it just makes it so much better. And I think the acting is really solid, which is great. And obviously they're gonna make a season 3. I like the way it ended with that cliffhanger with the shadow thing over top of them. That was pretty cool. And I guess it's an apology kind of. Wednesday night on Nick's chat with Anthony, I was on too, I mentioned watch X-Files, and right now I'd say it's not an up or a down. It's kind of I don't know. I watched it, and spoilers if you haven't seen it yet, but I was actually really very disappointed in it. I was remarking to my friend Mike last night after I watched it that I kind of felt about it like when anytime you see like Highlander movie, I like the original Highlander, and then they came out with Highlander 2, and it was just awful. And Matrix, I liked the first Matrix, and then 2 and 3, and I kind of just in my brain I pretend like they didn't happen because to me they were so awful. I kind of feel that way about this. It didn't feel like X-Files. There was one sequence where they're racing in a car, and I felt like I was just watching a 5-minute long car commercial. The acting was bad, and in parts of it, and I don't know. You had to really suspend belief, I guess. I don't know. And it was disappointing because there was some retconning that went on, and you felt like last season was that the fever dream. Did that really happen? Who knows? You know. And I'm going to hang with it. I call it the Lost syndrome, where you're invested so much time in watching Lost. Near the end of Lost, I couldn't care if it did get taken off the air, but I watched it because I wanted to see what happened. You know, you're already invested. You may as well watch it. That's how I feel about this. I see that it's only going to be 5 more episodes, and I read online that Gillian Anderson has no interest in continuing, and Chris Carter said if she's not going to do it, then he's not interested in it either. So. Which is fine. I just hope that they can do it justice, end it right. In recent memory, I'm trying to think of shows. Breaking Bad ended very satisfying, I think, the way that show closed out. And I really hope that, since Chris Carter was the original creator, that he would do that. We'll see where it goes. And part of it, I just think, is it was so cutting edge when it came out that everything else has kind of caught up to it. And maybe sometimes a comeback's not a good idea. The other analogy I was thinking of is if you go see one of your favorite bands in concert, and they're playing all their hits that you know, and maybe some deep cuts, B-sides, things like that, and you still like those, and then inevitably there's always this, and here's a couple songs off our new record, and you just hear a collective groan go over the crowd because it's always terrible. I think when you lose your edge, you lose your edge, and I kind of feel like that show's lost its edge. But we'll see. I'll keep watching it. Maybe I'll eat my own words here next week after I see the one next Wednesday. But I'm going to stick with it, but I can't recommend it. So that's where I am with that. So what else? Oh, I watched a show called Travelers on Netflix. It was a Canadian show, I think, originally. And then I think Netflix took over production of it for season 2. It's time travel. I think it's cleverly done, cleverly written. I typically, other than Back to the Future, despise time travel stories, especially if they're in comic books, because to me it's lazy writing. It's just a way of fixing things or changing the puzzle pieces so that your new puzzle piece fits into the stream of the story. But it's pretty well done. I like the way that they are moving forward with the story, and it was satisfying. It's quick watch. I watched all of them in 2 sittings, I think. So I can recommend that show. I liked it a lot. I haven't really watched anything else on Netflix. My queue is quite full, so hopefully I'll get a little time now that I'm not sorting comics anymore and typing in spreadsheets. But that's my week. Sorry if I wished I had more stuff to show you. Hopefully I will. I think I'll have some more fun type stuff going. I kind of feel reinvigorated about the hobby. Not that I was getting stale, but I kind of just felt, sometimes you question, why am I doing this? Looking at this book, I wanted this thing, but at some point you kind of remember, well, I don't remember why I want this. And that's when you get to that feeling, or if on your pull list you get home and you set the bag down from when you went to your LCS and it's sitting on top of 6 more bags from your pull list that you haven't read yet. Maybe it's time to trim that pull list or stop reading or find something new to read. But that's just where I'm at, and I can only speak from my frame of reference. So that's all I got today. So hopefully everyone in the Northeast, you're staying warm. It is insanely cold out. It's -1 this morning here. Wind chill, it's -20, -22. So hopefully it warms up. It looks like it'll be in the low 20s next week. So that'll be a heat wave. Maybe I'll run around in shorts and a Hawaiian shirt next week. But anyway, till next time, keep reading.